What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be kind of talking about Glocks, but more specifically discontinued models. If you didn't know, Glock is discontinuing about 30-some pistols, 30-some models. And in this video, we're going to kind of discuss what models they are discontinuing and kind of maybe why they would be doing that, and just kind of give my opinion on it. So for YouTube purposes, all these firearms on the table are clear. As you can see, orange follower, they're all clear. So I guess I wanted to kind of start with my opinion. Or maybe, no, we'll kind of get into what they are discontinuing. And then we'll discuss maybe why. And then we'll get into my opinion. We'll do it that way. How about that? We'll fucking do it that way. Alright. So, I'm sorry, guys. This is kind of late that I'm recording this. I'm a little tired. It's been a fucking long week. I've been busy as hell. But I wanted to get out at least this video. I'm going to possibly try and record a couple more, but if that might explain why I sound the way I fucking sound. But we're gonna go ahead and list the discontinued models. Got the Glock 17 Gen 4, the 17 MOS Gen 4 and 5, the 17L, the classic Gen 3, the 17L MOS. So let's kind of talk about why they're getting rid of the 17L and the 17. Probably due to the 47 and a few other guns. But I wanted to say also the Glock 49, but even that is on the list at the very bottom is Glock 49. So that one, I believe, was just released, and there is a few others that Glock just came out with, just released to the public. They're actually like that. We got the Glock 19 Gen 4. So it seems that maybe the Gen 3 and the Gen 5 of the Glock 19 will be safe. I wanted to stress this before I get into this list, is that a lot of your 9mm are safe. Most of your 9mm, Glock knows their market. They know 9mm is their best seller. So most of their 9mm are safe. They're mainstream 9mm. They're sort of just thinning out the lineup, essentially, to probably add some new pistols in. So your 43X, your 19X, your 45, all of those for the most part, the newer gens of all the 9mm are essentially safe. We're going to get into a few other calibers possibly in a minute. The Glock 19 MOS Gen 4. So here's where we're getting into sort of some separate calibers. And this is where I didn't quite understand why. But here we are. So the Glock 20 Gen 3 and 4. I believe the Gen 5 of the Glock 20 will be safe. The Glock 21, Gen 3, and Gen 4. The Glock 21 SF. The Glock 22, Gen 3, Gen 4, and 5. And this is where I'm going to stress this. They're done with most of their 40 cals. I want to argue that maybe, and I'm going to keep looking here, but maybe the Gen 5 23s will be safe. But right here, Gen 4 will not be safe, so maybe the Gen 3 will be safe. I think maybe they will keep the 23, but that seems to be the only 40 cal pistol they plan on keeping. So now, moving on to the Glock 24. The Glock 26 Gen 4. And so the Gen 3s and the Gen 5s of 26 should be safe. And so I definitely want a 26. I have a 26 build, but I would like a standard 26 Gen 5. So I'm not going to run to grab one of those yet. But that one would be one I'd like in the future. This is the ones that really are the kickers for me right here. And it's the next three I'm getting ready to mention. The Glock 27, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. The Glock 29, Gen 3 through Gen 5. The Glock 29 SF. And the Glock 30, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. So, I know that I had mentioned that there's not too many pistols left that I personally want to purchase. At least this year, that I'm going to purchase. That really might change now. I feel like I at least want to scratch one of those off, whether it be the 27, 29, or 30. The 27 and 30 are a little easier to get around me. And I'm going Gen 5. I'm not going older generations. I know a lot of y'all would argue that the older generations are better. I just think it just makes the most sense to go with the newer generations now. I don't mind the finger grooves, but I also probably prefer it without. My 17 had finger grooves, and it worked. It works on certain models, is all I'm going to say. But it's a safer bet just to remove them. I think I'll go probably Gen 5s on all the rest of my Glocks. And I want at least a 27, a 29, and a 30 to add into the collection. Just because, and we'll talk about, never mind. We're just going to keep going with the list before I get into any more. Glock 31, Gen 3, Gen 4. The 32, Gen 3, Gen 4. The 33, Gen 3, Gen 4. And the 34, Gen 3, and Gen 4. And the 34 MOS, Gen 4, and Gen 5. So the 34 is basically going to be gone. And now you're getting more into your long slide Glocks. They're really doing away with the long slides for some reason, which doesn't really make sense to me. The 34 is a great competition gun. I know a lot of people run 34 for that. And then you have the 35, 36, 37, the Gen 3 through 4s, 38, 39, and the 40. So if you wanted to go hunting with a 40, now might have been your opportunity to do so. But Glock 41, Gen 4, the MOS version as well, and the 49. So that is all the models they are getting rid of. So let's go ahead and kind of talk about maybe why they're doing this. They're strictly doing this so they can now innovate their line and add new pistols, whether it be new generations of certain models that they're getting rid of. They're going away from 40, which I think is a mistake. I think that Glock was still a reason 40 was kept alive, and I think it's stupid, again, for them to be getting rid of a bunch of 10mm models that people love. 29. So many people conceal that in Alaska, or just conceal it in general, whether you be in bear country or not. Maybe a lot of people just like the 10mm round. It's a very versatile round. So I hate to see them do all this. Hopefully they're bringing a lot to the table. Hopefully they're really completely updating their line. And I know the 26X is going to be released decently soon. I'm not too excited for that because genuinely I would just take a 19. The little bit of barrel length doesn't bother me. Granted, I do like the balance of a 19X, but I don't know. I'd like to shoot one before I say anything, but I feel like you know, just, I think it's got like that much of a barrel shortage or something like that. So like the 26 size slide with the 19 size frame. I don't know. It could be cool. Could be something that I would carry. Granted, the one thing that kills me is Glock continues to want your money but not innovate, and that's fine because I'll buy their older pistols. I like their just stuff that is the reason I like Glocks so much is one, for reliability, but this is just one of the reasons I'm gonna just talk about. I'm gonna make a complete video on kind of why I gravitate more towards Glock after a roundabout way finding that out again. So many different calibers, every different size, they have a size and a caliber for that of everything, and I think that's why I like them so much. If you can think of a size handgun and a caliber, Glock had it, at least. And so that really sucks. That was one of the big things that I liked about Glock, was the mag interchangeability, simplicity, reliability, but also the fact that I could essentially have so many guns that just are all different because of the caliber, size. They all shoot different, you know what I mean? It just, and they're so customizable, man. There's not many companies you can have preferred 357 SIG or 40 or even 45 GAP, any of those where you're like, I can have such a more exotic line caliber and still have it customized to you. And I think that was cool. The fact that if you wanted to go 40, you could do everything to this pistol essentially that you could to the 9mm equivalent, but it was your preferred caliber. Glocks are a good canvas to turn into whatever you want, or just keep reliable, simple stock machines. So I hope they do come out with enough models to where we're like, wow, that was worth y'all discontinuing all these models. Will that happen? I'm not sure. I know for a fact that the 9mm Glocks that I want are not going to be in question for buying here right now, unless it's a 34 long slide of some sort, you know. I'm interested, the 49 being discontinued, along with the 29 Gen 5 and the 30 Gen 5, those have came out within the past like year or two, and they're discontinuing them. Why are they getting away from 10mm and 45? And I understand why, maybe 45 gap and 357 SIG, but why are they getting rid of their 10mm, their 40s, and their 45s? There's still a market for those, I believe. Their long slides, it seems they're getting rid of all their competition-based pistols as well. So I don't think this is necessarily the best move for Glock. I will say that if there's a, like I said, I listed off 30 pistols, and there's like 3 to really 5 that I would really seriously want before they got scarce. If there's a lot on this list and you're for some reason like, I've got to go out and buy all of them before they're gone, don't feel like that. There's so many of these pistols flooded in the civilian market that it will take a hit, but you will still be able to find those pistols. I will say it might be a lot harder, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and tell you. So if there is a couple, like I said, 2 or 3 on here that I listed, and you can look it up and find this information yourself, any of these, and you're like, hey, I don't want to miss out, and for some reason, if you know, Glock's a very popular pistol, a lot of these models could start being bought because people are feeling, you know, like me or you who are watching this video. So, I don't know why Glock is doing this. I think they're really shitting the fucking bed on this. I really do. I hope that it's worth it in the long run. But like I said, there's at least 3 models that I want, and I hope that it won't be too scarce to get them. I plan on getting, honestly, a 27, 29, or a 30 a lot sooner than I care to admit. So y'all might see that on the channel, and we'll shoot it with the 23 and maybe have a video for y'all on shooting them. But please like the video, subscribe, and if y'all have any questions, leave them in the comment down below. I'll try to answer as many as possible. Just want to quick mention, thank y'all for 100 subscribers. It's not a huge milestone. I really would like to hit, we're shooting for 1,000 and then 10,000, keep going. But it's really cool to at least just have hit 100. That's just wanted to quickly mention that little milestone. But take it easy, guys. Have a good night.